Okay, everyone, we just mute everyone. Okay, so hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Very warm welcome to today's session as well. It's after a couple of times that we've actually got a topic to speak on because otherwise, we've just been here without topics, but we've always found something to talk about, something that happens all the time. And even today's topic, it happens all the time. And yet, today, to look at it in more detail, and what's it that happens all the time? Words, 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 words. How many words do we use in a day? Well, I use a lot. I'm constantly, doing this on all my sessions. And sometimes I have about 20 different sessions to attend. And so I'm going to each of those and doing exactly the same thing, using a lot of words to do what? To communicate. And so we think that, oh my God, if the words weren't there, we wouldn't be able to communicate. And then we start to understand a little bit about energy. The more we understand about energy, we're able to see that words might be different, but the energy underneath it might be very much the same. Words might be the same, but the energy underneath it might be so different. It happens so many times that somebody says a few things to us and we really feel hurt. We sit under the weight of their words and we say, oh my God, how could they even say that to us? Under all, after all that I've done for them, how could they say something like that to me? And we get weighed down by the words that we use. What is actually happening over there? Are the words that important? Actually, those words, whatever they were, have caused you some hurt. And so that's what is the important piece. If they didn't use those words and simply used some silence to give you the same message, what would happen? Well, we use silence so many times, and women are famous for it. Now I'm totally judging the women. So crossing that out. But we are known for it, right? Oh, she's going to give us a silent treatment now. Well, the words aren't there, but the message is loud and clear. The message of anger, the message of resentment is loud and clear without the use of any words. And that happens all the time as well. So, well, what would happen if we didn't use any of these words? We use words for so much of expression. It helps us. Definitely poems and definitely stories and everything that we communicate to each other happens through words. And everybody, if you've given your word to somebody, there would have been a time if you're not able to keep that word, it would definitely give you a little bit of feeling over here, a little bit of heaviness over here that you couldn't keep your word. And then you come to one of my sessions and I say, yeah, all the communication doesn't really happen through words at all. Yeah, I say it. Can you believe it? I say it. But that's the whole piece. The communication, even between you and me, is not so much in words. The communication between you and me right now, even as I do this, the communication between you and me is still in the energies. You come here every week. What do I have to say to you every week? The same things. I don't use too many different things at all. I have the same concept, the four things. The universe is playing in your favor. You have to remember to look within. Only keep your eyes on yourself. Bring all the fingers right here. This is what I talk about each time. And yet, you guys are here, week after week, year after year. What is it that you and I are talking about that sounds so new? Nothing in the words is new, but the energy is constantly new. And that's what keeps bringing you back. If somebody was to look at it from the outside, they'd say, they'd look at one webinar and then look at the second webinar and say, okay, we are done. What is it? She has nothing new to say. But then when somebody comes here and finds that every time you come, something or the other works at a deeper layer. Why is that deeper layer coming up because you are working in your energies. Your energies moving constantly to empty themselves, to empty you out so that you can move in your journey. The journey being only one for each one of us. Journey is from fear to fearless. The journey is from limits to limitless. And so each of us have a different journey. We are getting there. But when you come to my energies, when you take energies from me, and I'm constantly working on the energy, then every week my energy is different and your energy recognizes that. And that's why you come here. The same words, but the energy being different. I was taking a similar example for the morning session as well. These days, one of the gentlemen, he's been doing a meditation every single day at 10 p.m. That meditation is open to everybody. That somebody please put the meditation link on this webinar also. So the meditation that is being done by Divya is beautifully simple. It consists of just one line. And he's doing this meditation constantly every single day for 10 minutes or 12 minutes or some such thing like that. What is different? The same line repeated over and over again. And yet, when you go to that meditation every day, the same line being repeated again and again, what's different? What's different is the energy. Each day, you're not the same. Each day, that energy of Divya, as he works on himself, it's not the same. So, will you receive? Absolutely. Will you keep receiving? Absolutely. So, again and again, the words, do they mean everything? Do they mean anything? The words help us catch our awareness. They help us when we are constantly thinking thoughts, when we're constantly doing things, and suddenly a conscious aware thought will come in words, and we will be able to catch it to say, I was running out, I was looking outside, let me bring my attention back within. And so the words do help us in making ourselves more consciously aware, bringing out the choices to us. When will the choices come? Over and over again, we talk about it. When we sit in an emotion, that's the emotion that's going to play out more. But when we sit looking within, now choices appear. What are the choices? Again, through words today, I'm going to elaborate on the kind of choices that we have even about words. So, picking up the first example, and I talk about, somebody says hurtful words to me. When somebody says hurtful words to me, do I get hurt? Yes, I get hurt. That's not where the choices exist. You experience an emotion, and that's perfectly fine. You experience the emotion, but you don't sit in the emotion. That's the choice that the conscious awareness will bring to you. How does that happen? I was talking about it even in the morning, and it seems to be a beautiful way to begin this conversation in earnestness. When somebody says something to me that is mean, of course I will be hurt. But instead of the finger being outside, I will bring the finger back in. I'll bring the finger to say, okay, outside there is nothing but a mirror that exists, a mirror that is constantly reflecting things about me. How do I wish to look at this new piece of information that this outside mirror has told me things that are hurtful? When I find something hurting me, I have two, step one and step two. The first step is to see that, okay, let's cancel out that other person's name because that's what makes me, it diverts my attention. When I see something and I see a person outside and I see them with a different name, I get a little bit away from the fact that the outside is only a mirror. So when I take their name away from the scenario, what is the sentence now looking like to me? The conversation that I have with myself is this: outside, how am I hurting myself? How am I sitting and hurting myself? Which parts of me am I hurting? Which parts of me am I angry at? So I sit with this, which parts of me am I angry at to be saying these kind of hurtful things to myself? It's not necessary that the outside and the inside are going to match on the topic. After all, that outside actor is simply here to show you your hurt. But as I look on the outside, am I able to see, okay, this person is not the one that's hurting me. There are parts of me that are angry at myself and I'm hurting me. When I'm able to see those parts of myself, the work is done. So, part A being that person is not hurting me, he's showing the hurt that I hold. And the second one being, am I angry? Am I angry on myself for something that that person is reflecting my anger back at me? So, when I look at their anger, I say, am I angry at something? When I look at what they've created through that anger, they've created hurt in me. Okay, I can release the hurt. These are the two steps that I follow for almost every conversation that happens outside that creates a trigger in me. Any trigger, it doesn't necessarily have to be hurt, but any trigger, I deal with it in this two-step process. They are feeling angry. Okay, they don't exist. Can I understand if I'm angry with myself for anything? Maybe yes, maybe no. And then their anger has produced hurt in me. What am I feeling? I am feeling hurt. And so looking at it from that perspective and this perspective clears my energy from both angles. If somebody, there are so many times people come to me and say, Meenal, I love you. Now, these words are purely of love. And yet again, it is so fun because I am able to grasp the energy. I work so much within, that words outside have started to mean very little. And immediately, as words are being said or not even said, but I am able to sense the energy a little bit more. And so, as things happen, if somebody comes and tells me, Meenal, I love you so much, and I can sense that the energy is not fully love. I'm looking at the energy and saying, okay, it's not fully love. I can sense something else in it. I can maybe sense some resentment, even as they say so. They might be feeling bound to say so. But even as they say so, the energy feels maybe they're feeling a little bit jealous, maybe they're feeling a bit angry, but they feel bound to say so. I understand why many people will come and say to me, Meenal, I love you. After all, I work so much on my self love. I constantly remind myself I am awesome. When I remind myself awesome, I am awesome, unconditionally giving love to myself. No conditions. I'm awesome because this, I'm not awesome because this. No. Through all of this, I am awesome. Whether I did something well or I didn't do something well, I am still awesome. With all of the self love, when mirrors come in front of me, what will they be projecting more of? They will be projecting more of love. And so when somebody comes from outside and they say, Meenal, I love you, I understand. It is my love being projected back at me. And yet I can sense their jealousy. What should I do about their jealousy? Well, here it is. I can either react to that jealousy and make it my own. Remember, if something triggers me, then there is work on me. But if something doesn't trigger me, then I can simply let it pass. In that moment, when somebody comes and says to me, Meenal, I love you, I simply choose to stay with the words. That the words, whatever the words are, they are the truth for me. Now, you'd say that's really opportunistic because at one point you say only look at the words, at the other point, who's A, who's A that's suddenly unmuted and creating so much of ruckus. Asha. Okay, Asha, please stay muted. I'm muting you. Asha, please stay muted. I just muted you. Yes. Okay. All right. So as I said, where was I? Okay. So we were talking about how opportunistic is this. At some point, I tell you, only look at the energy. At the other side, I say, no, just simply, look at the words, only don't go into the energy. The whole point being, I have to bring my needle to joy and peace. That's my only joy. That's my only purpose in life, to keep bringing my needle to peace, to keep bringing my needle to inner joy. And so, whatever helps me bring that needle, move that needle faster to joy, I'm simply going to be using that technique at that time. I don't care whether I look inside and then I find so much jealousy or so much resentment. And now I'm sitting and wondering, oh, why is she feeling so resentful? Or why is he so angry with me? I don't need to get into any of that. They said, I love you. I can simply be with that. No, no, they are lying. They are not really speaking the truth. Well, whatever is spoken in this moment, it is for me to go with what I consider as the truth. And so I consider this is the truth, that they love me. I know that it's a reflection of my love and they don't exist. And so it's easy for me to understand that no matter what, even if somebody has a different, they come from a different energy field, they have work on themselves, but they love me. And that's all it is. The second part, when I want to go into the energy perspective, that's because I'm feeling hurt. If I'm feeling hurt, then of course, what is the better way for me to overcome my hurt? It's to work on myself. If I leave it to somebody outside that, okay, you work on yourself, you apologize to me, you have to do this. Now I'm leaving everything open for an outside mirror. When it will happen, whether it will happen or not, all out in the open. Can I do something immediately to my own energy to bring it back to joy? Absolutely. I can tune into the frequency of Meenal. And so I tune into the frequency of Meenal and I bring myself to joy and not stay in another frequency of unjoy. It becomes a choice. The only purpose that I keep for myself is I have to bring myself to joy. That's all. That's my purpose in life. Everything in my life happens from that space. Do I get to do things that don't bring me so much joy? Yes, I get to do things that don't bring me so much joy. But even before I go there, I tune my energy into joy. And you'll ask me how? And I've given that answer a lot of times by first tuning into gratitude, by tuning into gratitude for whatever is coming forth, whatever doesn't seem like it's going to be enjoyable. But when I can be in gratitude for things, that makes everything outside so much easier to flow. But that's not the story. Coming back to words, there are many words which, as soon as they are uttered, they will completely throw us off. They invoke a lot of emotions in us. Most of the times, the emotions are of fear. When we talk about something like unhealthy, this food is unhealthy, the air is unhealthy, something that is unhealthy creates a lot of fear in us. This is an addiction. The word addiction creates a lot of fear in us. We can either simply remove every addiction, every unhealthy thought, every unhealthy food, every unhealthy piece of air from our surroundings, or we can simply let go of all of the fear underneath the words. We use so many words in a day. You've got to be careful. You have got to be careful. Be careful about this and be careful about that. The word careful comes from a place of fear. It just simply comes from a place of fear, saying the universe is not working in your favor. If you're not looking, if you're not alert, it's going to do things to you that you will later be pointing fingers at and feeling sorry about. Well, what's going to happen? Well, the more careful you are, the more alert you are, the more fear you feel in yourself. The more fear you feel in yourself, the more the outside universe is going to give you those opportunities for you to say, oh, bloody hell, how the hell did that happen? Well, how the hell did that happen? It happened from your frequency of fear. And so letting go of the fear underneath those words. The more you think about it, now be aware. In a day, you use so many words. You've got to be careful. You tell your children to be careful, as they're crossing the street, as they're doing this. Be careful, don't talk to the stranger. Be careful. The only energies that you are helping grow are the energies of mistrust. And then you'll say, if I stop telling my children, they'll go and trust anybody, and that is going to be so bad for them. Well, you speak this way because right now you do sit in the energies of mistrust. When I sit in the energy of mistrust, every thought will come from fear and mistrust alone. When I come from the energies of trust, every thought will come from the energy of trust and fearlessness. So when I'm vibrating at the frequency of fearlessness, will the outcomes be the same as when I was vibrating at the frequency of fear? No, the outcomes themselves are going to be different because the frequency is different. Every frequency has its own set of manifestations. What we call those manifestations sometimes as destinies, but that's simply a manifestation of the frequency that you are sitting in. And so, most of the times when we are using words of stopping somebody, giving them warnings about what they should do and what they should not do, this time around, take a look. Maybe you will, and maybe you won't be able to stop them. Maybe you will be able to not tell them anything and allow yourself to flow freely. A story comes to mind. I was at Kailash and at Mount Kailash, and everybody, there were many people who were going in to the Lake Mansarovar for a dip. One of the people, somebody, even before I made the trip, somebody had called me and said, I went to Kailash and I was told in the group that she was traveling, their guru told them that please be out of the Kailash, be out of the lake, take a dip, but be out of the lake by 6 minutes. In about 6 minutes, your body starts to react to the extensive cold temperatures outside. And so don't be in the lake for more than 6 minutes. And then so everybody, they came, they were really all charged up. They went to the lake. They came out within 6 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever the number was. Even so, when she went back home, she went back to Canada, and then she called and said, oh, I had a lot of health problems, because I was there and, maybe I didn't take enough precautions. Maybe I didn't do this. And so I had to suffer a lot even after I came back. Well, this was much later, but when she told me that she got these instructions of going into the water for only 6 minutes. And I said, okay, now we are at the Lake Mansarovar. And as I'm looking and people are getting ready, people from my group are now getting ready to go to the lake. And these words, they suddenly crossed my mind. Should I call out to them and let them know that 6 minutes is the limit? Because after that, there might be frostbite. And if frostbite gets into your system, it can be really, really bad for you. So the words came up. They almost came up, these words. And then I was able to sense the energy underneath them. The energy being of worry, the energy being of fear. And so as the words came up, I looked at the words and then I let them go. I didn't speak anything to the people who were going into the waters. The ones who went with me, they were in the water for over an hour. For over an hour. And each of them, they were taking a dip, they were coming out, they were going back in, they were having so much fun. The water was freezing cold. It was really, really freezing cold. And here was an entire group. They were having so much fun. And I couldn't go up to them. I couldn't even walk up to them. I was just made, literally, I was made to sit on the side. I was made to sit on the side and simply observe. I was simply looking at them. There was hardly a distance of about 20 steps between me and them. And I couldn't walk those 20 steps. So I sat on the side. I simply barely, put some fingers into the Mansarovar. I did this to myself. And then that was that. I didn't do anything else. I couldn't take the jump into the waters. I couldn't do anything. I sat to the side. I was asking later in guidance as to what happened. And they said, the bodies, each of their bodies, they come from different places of fear. They come from different places of fear, and they are in the water. And you have let them go into the water. Your energy is right now taken over. It's your energy in which they are able to go into the water and, play for an hour and a half. And so, the entire scenario was taking my energy, and I was sitting to the side. I wasn't told to go into the water, understanding that through them I did go into the water, but they all needed to receive that energy directly from me. And so I simply sat over there and established myself as a tower of this fearlessness, so that they could all be in this fearlessness. So the transmission of fearlessness was happening in that moment. And when that happened, the outcome from fear, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, the outcome from fearlessness, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. None of those people who went into the water for 1.5 hours and took a shower, took a bath, just played over there. Whatever they did, not one of them even had a sneeze from this entire 1.5 hours of masti. The energy of masti will lead to more masti, right? The energy of fear will it'll lead to some health issues, it'll lead to some body manifestations. And that's how fear and fearlessness have two different outcomes. The words were very simple: be careful, don't be in the water. Don't we say that so many different times, not just at Mansarovar, but so many different times to our children? Oh, the weather is cold, you be careful. And where are we speaking from? We are simply speaking from the energies of fear. And when we begin to become aware, we can watch ourselves literally at every sentence. And so many of these words will find their way out of your vocabulary. They will, you will not even resonate with those words of, I need to feel more secure. No, this is good for my security. Or I'm feeling insecure. Those words will stop existing in your vocabulary when you become more and more aware. The other story that comes to tell is this really beautiful one, and it talks about how much we are conditioned. So firstly giving a small example, and then giving, like, later on taking the bigger example, do the same thing. I was talking about it again even in the morning session, that when I grew up in a family where we didn't utter any abuse words. Abuse words were just not allowed. And so even the word bitch, that meant too much. Like, that was like an abuse. How can you call me that? So I was somebody who would get very upset when somebody called me a bitch. I was somebody who would get very, very upset, not knowing. Well, those were unaware days, right? So I would take all kinds of judgments on those people. Many people have this habit of calling others a bitch. For them, it means nothing. It's the same word, but they'll be using it on their best friends. They'll just be using it as a term of endearment, and that's all that it is to them. For them, it's a term of endearment. The same term for me is an abuse. So that's how different the same word can be. The energy underneath the same word can be so different. So anyways, so here I used to be somebody who would really mind it if somebody used that abuse word for me. Fast forward, and now I began to work within. So many of the judgments fell off. So many of the judgments fell off in so many different ways. But then, and the journey moved forward beautifully. But then there are still so many places that we don't get to look. And that's when I tell you that, when somebody comes from the outside, you've been having a smooth sailing. And it's wonderful that you've been having a smooth sailing. But when somebody comes from the outside and gives you a little bit of a jolt, and then you're like, You just came to ruin my peace, didn't you? And the finger is outside. The finger is outside because you didn't understand that this person has actually come to show you the little place where you still have some work within. So a similar story happened to me. Just, I think it was a couple of years ago. My house, as many of you know, my house is open to anybody who wishes to come and stay with me. So many people come and I don't know anything about them. They just simply come. They are welcome in my house. They're given a room. If there are rooms available, they're given a room. They're definitely given a bed. They're definitely given meals and they get to stay there. The work on energy happens in so many different ways. Many of them come and ask me how to work on their energies. Many of them just simply come. Their energies are calling out, but they don't know how or they don't want to consciously work on their energies. But yet, somehow or the other, they get invited. So about 2 or 3 years ago, a gentleman was invited by his energies to come and spend time in my house. So as he came, he didn't know me from Adam. I didn't know him from Adam. I only knew his name, and that was that. And so he came and he said, can I stay with you? And I said, yeah, sure. His reason for staying was he needed free boarding and lodging. And initially I was very judgmental and I said, oh, the room is available for somebody who wants to work on their energy. And then Mani says, you have no idea whether he wants to work on his energies or not. His energies are pushing him there. So put your house open for anybody. If somebody wants to come and stay at your house for a year, saying, I'm just here for the free boarding and lodging, allow that as well. So I allowed him to come and I allowed him to stay with me. Now he came and he would sit, and that was a time when many people were coming to my house and I was being guided to give away all my life savings to them. I was being guided. I would receive a guidance saying, give this one this much money, give this one that much money. And my bank accounts were being emptied out. And so I was watching that. I worked enough on my money. I already came fearless, but even a little bit of, emotion here and an emotion there. I had already worked on it. So money creates no triggers for me. And so, the guidance would come saying, give him this much, give him that much. I would simply go out and do the needful. This person is watching and he says to me, he says, you know what? You're crazy. You're an idiot because you think that all of these people are coming here to change their energy. And I'm telling you, they're only after your money. Once your money is finished, they won't even look at you. They won't even give you one glance. I know because the same thing has happened to me. I used to have a lot of money, and many people would come and be nice to me. But then once my money was over, I've been sitting and nobody even bothers whether I'm alive or I'm dead. And I told him, I said, yeah, that's great. But you know what? That must be your energy around money. You're clinging to money. That's bringing you these outcomes. I understand that I don't live your life. And so for me, the outcomes are not going to be like that. I am still going to experience love from everywhere. I'm going to experience joy when I receive money, when I give money. I'm going to continue to experience joy. Here, the conversation, the words that he was using were all about money. My work was already done on money. So it didn't create a trigger inside. It created no trigger for me when he was talking about the topic that's money. Couple of days more pass by, another day happens again. There are many people around and we are all drinking and we're all making merry and we are dancing, and everybody then leaves. Everybody leaves and goes back to their home. And this fellow again remains and he's sitting right in front of me. And he says to me, he says, you're stupid because you don't understand. You think that these people are coming to your place for energy work, but they are really coming because they want to have sex with you. At this point in time, I just let loose. He says, no, these are all the people that you want, that they want to have sex with you. And I looked at him and he was a follower of Osho. This man was a follower of Osho. And so I looked at him in great anger. I was livid. He had just called me close to, not a guru to these people, not a guide to these people. He had just called me somebody, a prostitute, right? That people come for having sex with. And so I was so livid. I looked at him and I said, well, how many times did you go to Osho to have sex with him? So let's hear about that. But even as I was talking to him with literally fire coming out of my mouth, and I was hissing and I was so angry, so livid. And I asked him that, but even in that moment, the finger had already turned within, because I said, wow, this word has caused me so much of anger. This word, the word prostitute, the word sex, people coming to have sex, all of that has caused me so much anger. I'm triggered. If I am triggered, the work is on me. Simple as that. So even as I'm talking to him, I can almost see, and he says, no, I'm not talking about myself. I'm fine, but all of these other people that are coming to you. And I said, no, there is nobody else. Right now, there is only you in front of me. And these are your thoughts. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but these are your thoughts. But even as I could say to him, these are your thoughts, the rest of the fingers had already turned within, saying, this is your trigger, Meenal, this is your trigger. So I left the conversation. When an outside trigger happens, and I've understood that it is all on the outside and the work is within, that I will simply bring myself back into where I belong. I belong in the place of understanding what is this here to teach me. And so I quickly went inside. I was not interested in the conversation. He kept running after us, saying, stop, we must discuss. I didn't mean this, I didn't mean that. But whatever he meant, it doesn't matter. Whatever he meant is not where the story is. What I am feeling is where the entire story is. And I was feeling so angry, so hurt, so livid. So I go in, and then, of course, I sit with my register. I start to journal, and I ask Mani, what is this here to teach me? Why did he call me this? And he says, why? What's wrong? What's wrong with what you were called? And I said, what do you mean? He says, well, who's a prostitute? A prostitute is somebody who sells the body. They sell what they have to sell. What did you sell? When you were an investment banker, you sold paper worth a few crores, 100 crore paper, 200 crore paper. You had a paper in your hand that you sold, but you had that. And so you sold it and somebody bought it. And similarly, you have these transactions every single day. For groceries, you buy something, somebody sells something. You're doing this buy and sell all the time. Then why are you holding this judgment for somebody who's only got something to sell? They're selling that. What is the problem with what they're selling? Oh, well. I understood that, and then quickly I was able to release all that judgment that I was holding. And I thanked him in the energies, not in the real. I was still angry with him. But I thanked him in the energies. That is so much more simpler to do. And that's where life is so easy, that you can do whatever you wish in the energies, and the energy to energy communication happens so beautifully. And so I thanked him in the energies for bringing this recognition, this realization to me that I still had to release this judgment. I still had work to do on myself, and he was able to bring it out to me. Outside, so many people, all those mirrors who come and tell me, the 99 of them who tell me that they love me, that's my self-love being reflected back at me unconditionally. When one person comes and shows me no love, then I have to understand that that person has indeed come to show me the place where I still haven't given myself some love. So whenever our judgment outside drops, the judgment within drops, right? It all works equally because there is nothing outside. There is only us, outside and inside. So I had worked on myself, and so beautifully. So I go out the next day and I'm fine. I'm actually only thankful for his presence for these last 4 or 5 days, because he showed me where my work was done. It was done on the money front, but where my work was not done. And he was able to show it to me. And because of that, I was able to empty myself out just a little bit more. And so as I did the emptying, I went and sat outside. And he also, the early morning, so he also came out. He expected me to be angry, but I wasn't. Normally, he used to sit on the couch right next to me. But this time, today, when he came, he didn't sit on the couch next to me. He actually sat at my feet, only to show me that my work was done. There is no reason for him to sit there, but he sat at my feet just to denote to me that yes, you've worked within. Does he know that I worked within? No, he doesn't know. But the energies know. And so the energies told him to give me a subtle little hint. And he gave me that hint by sitting at my feet. And then, of course, from that point onwards, what does he call me? Only ma. Only ma. You earlier when he came to me, he was like, there is only Osho and there is no one else. There is only Osho. And this is how we tend to feel when we are still looking outside at a guru. And then now he's like, okay, yeah, there was Osho and there is now you. Osho has sent me to you. And I said, yes, Osho has sent you to me for two reasons. One was that you needed to show me where my work remains, and may you also receive where your work remains. Because everything, this was a two-way transaction, and so beautifully it happened that he showed me where I need to work on. I'm sure that he would have received my energy and moved forward in his journey as well. I see some comments, so let's go to the comments. Okay. All right. No questions as such, just oops. Oh no. All right. Okay. So this is for so this entire episode just to tell you that if words trigger you so much. In the morning session, somebody said the word rape triggers them. And I said, yeah, it triggers because there is intense fear that we hold with respect to that word, because we think that somebody can do something to our body that we have not asked for. Well, so amazing, isn't it? Because it is our energy that's creating that experience as well. It is our energy that's creating that experience as well. What will we receive from them? Many different people receive different things. The word is the same, but the experience, what will it bring to you, might be something so different, might be something so different for you and for somebody else. Okay, similar incidents with me. Thank you for putting light on this word prostitute. Wonderful. So similar incidents with you. Now you can work within and let go of all the hate that you've collected under the word. All the fear, all the hate, all the separation from the self that we tend to collect because of putting so much weightage on the word. Look at the energy outside. If it is of hate, take a look at yourself. Where all do you still not love yourself? That's all that the outer universe is showing to you. The outer universe is simply shedding some light on the inner universe that you hold, but you can't see. Okay, somebody asks me a question saying, hi, Meenal, I've come for a 2-week holiday and the work at my office has piled up so much that I'm constantly stressed that there is so much work. I'm not doing it in Masti. I'm thankful that I had a lovely holiday and I have a job, but the thought of work is not going away. Okay, so here it is. If the thought of work is not going away, if you are feeling that the work is too much, then even before you get into the work, firstly clear your energy. What if you don't do the work? What if you don't do the work by the timeline that you have? The what if? What if I don't do this today? What if this doesn't get done tomorrow? What if, what if, what if? Till the time you are sitting in the fear frequencies, only more of the fear will keep coming up. Till the time you are sitting in these hate frequencies, right now the object of your hate being your work. Till the time you are sitting in the hate frequencies, more hate is going to come up. And so to transform those energies of hate, I constantly say that if I don't like work, if I don't like some part of the work, I firstly move to gratitude. Because of work, maybe you have the money that you can go and celebrate and have a holiday. So thanking the work for the money that it brings to you. So that's one part, coming into gratitude. And now the other part, what if all of this work doesn't get happen today? What will happen? Oh, I'm going to lose my job. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh, that is going to happen. Through all of those thoughts, I have just one killer move. Yeah, if I lose my job, it's because the universe is playing in my favor. If this happens, it's because the universe is playing in my favor. If that happens, it's only because the universe is playing in my favor. Are you able to have that kind of faith, or are you sitting in doubt that no, if I lose, I cannot lose this job. If I lose this job, I will not be taken care of. Then it's simply more fear, more worry, more cause of your insecurity. Guess what? Insecurity will only bring the more of the same from the outside. And that's why I constantly keep pointing out, saying, if you're going to do something, it's so beautiful. Again, this is happening because, I always talk about how I used to get so much edgy when it came to doing my taxes. I didn't understand why. I have no problem paying taxes. I have no problem paying penalties. If taxes want to happen, they can happen. But there were so many different triggers which were hidden underneath. There were so many different judgments. And every year I worked on those taxes. This time, I've given away the taxes for money to do. Will they happen through me? Of course, they will happen to me. They will happen through me as well. But I've told money, okay, on the day that you want me to do the work, I know that you will shift my energy and you will make me the most productive on that day. And so yesterday, and how is it that I decide whether today money is going to let me do the taxes or not? I come into equanimity. And equanimity is all about that question that I already asked. What if I don't do this? What if I don't do that? Okay, if I don't do this, then also the universe is playing in my favor. What if I don't do that? Then also the universe is playing in my favor. And so I've stationed myself in that sentence, something that you can do too, from fear to fearless, that the universe is playing in your favor. You can take energy from Meenal. This information about the universe playing in your favor comes much more easier when you're sitting in the frequency of Meenal. When you're sitting in the frequency of fear, fearful thoughts will come. When you're sitting in the frequency of Meenal, masti thoughts will come. And so station yourself more and more. Listen to the meditation. There's a 13-minute meditation that's out there on YouTube, moving to the frequency of Meenal. So that's out there as well. Move into that if you feel like it. But simply moving along, then once you've taken a look at what if this and what if that, what do? I toss a coin. So yesterday I tossed a coin and made an intent to money, saying, okay, if you want me to do the taxes today, let me know. The answer came no. I put those to the side. But I was able to do that because I've put my entire thought to say, I surrender it to you, money. Whenever you want the taxes done, I know that when he gets around to doing it, it'll happen in a day. All the work, whether it might be something that I have to collect for 3 days or something, but when money puts his effort to it, I don't have to. He will do that job through me, but he will do that job in a day. It doesn't matter. I sit with that trust. You sit with the trust that, oh my God, there is so much work. It's going to take me 5 days. I have no help. This is going to keep piling up. It won't work out. You're not taking the right help. The right help is through the word surrender, but surrender can only happen with what if. None of these happening, then simply at least spend time before you pick up the job. Spend time in coming to gratitude. All of these answers work. If you can do all of them, the work will happen beautifully. You will find yourself to be so much more productive. You will find that whatever you are doing, you'll be like doing something half-hearted, and yet it will look better than your full-hearted. Your full-hearted made from the frequency of fear, and your half-hearted made from the frequency of masti. What will fear bring outside? Something more fearful, but this masti, no matter what you do, it is going to bring you a little bit more masti on the outside. Bring yourself to gratitude and release with what if, what if. That's what I do. Not able to remove hate from the word prostitute, as my husband has left me for one. Perfect. that your husband has left you for one because the energies were like that. When your husband left you for a prostitute, what is the feeling that you feel? You feel hate. Who is collecting that hate? You are collecting the hate. Who is the hate going to show up more for? Right now, it's already showing up in your life. Somebody doesn't love you, they left you. It's your hate. And now, as you sit in that experience, are you creating more of the same or are you being aware and releasing? If you're creating more of the same, that too is going to bring its own set of rewards. If you are sitting in awareness and being able to release it, that too will bring its own set of rewards. Each set of reward is simply the experience that we get to do. We get to experience hate more and more from the outside universe when we sit and grow hate. One of these old things comes to me, and it has nothing because I've already answered. The word prostitute means nothing because you have also sold and bought many things. You've been there, you've sold something, and if so, you've been the prostitute as well. You can't remove the hate for that. That's the hate for you that you have. And now you can think about it. A word comes to me, the word is hate itself. There was a time that I used to really, every time I would look at a political agenda out there, I would get very, very triggered from the politics outside. Politics is playing out like this, and this fellow made a hate speech, and that fellow made a hate speech. And then I would sit and look at that and get extremely triggered by those people who were making the hate speech. I would be extremely triggered, and I would do what? So, this part I didn't realize because as I was sitting one day and I was looking at, this was a few years ago. I was looking at the United States of America and something was happening over there with the president then. And I was sitting and I was getting so triggered with the president back then. And then as I looked at that and the guidance came, and the guidance came to me and said, "Oh, don't you really hate that fellow?" And I said, "Yeah, my God, he gives such hate speeches, hate speeches. That fellow gives so many hate speeches, and how can he do this and how can he do that? I really hate that fellow." And so the guidance came, how are you any different? The hate speech from you to him. That's it. You don't need a wider audience. He's giving a hate speech to 1,000 people. Okay. But you're also giving a hate speech to him. There is no difference between you and that person. When you sit hating somebody outside of you, there is no one outside of you. You're only growing the hate that you are going to carry. And when you carry the hate, well, that's all that's going to keep showing up in your life. If that's what you really want, keep collecting the hate. It'll show up with more people saying, "Oh, I really hate you." If that's what you really want to hear, that's perfect as well. For me, that was an eye opener. And I immediately, now when a political agenda is happening, I simply just look at it and I'm able to see the creator in each of them, the Shiva in each of the people. These people want to experience this right now. These people want to experience this right now. In all of this, I'm able to see whether I am triggered or not. And most of the times, 99% of the times these days, I am not triggered. But when I do get triggered, I understand that the work has come with it. Okay. All right. And then somebody says, "Please tell me how to be fearless. These days, without any reason, I'm feeling fear, stressed, rushed, confused, always nervousness. Situation improved after taking up your program, but not completely." Wonderful. So here it is. It's a frequency without any reason. It's always without reason. I'm glad that you recognize that it's without any reason. Sometimes we get confused because we think that we are fearful because of this. We are fearful because of this. The only thing that I understand is that fear is a frequency. Fear is just a frequency, just as much as fearlessness is. So I sit in the frequency of fearlessness. You sit in the frequency of fear. I can tune into your frequency, you can tune into my frequency. Energies are like that, they are open at all times, and you can just simply tune into any energy, but you have to become aware. So you're sitting in the frequency of confusion, you're sitting in the frequency of fear. I have a very simple process called the positivity process. And the positivity process is to be able to see that no matter what emotion you are sitting in, whether you're sitting in fear, you're sitting in hate, you're sitting in worry, you're sitting in love, you're sitting in joy. It's just a frequency. It's a frequency, it's a channel, and I can change it. I recognize that I am the television set, I am the remote control, I am the person watching the television set. I am all of them. So, can I change the channel? Yes, I can change the channel. I can change the channel to anything I want it to be. I am the television set on me. Right now, fear can be playing. In me right now, fearless can be playing just like that, just like that. So when you say that, okay, you got helped by the EM30 program, but it's back that you're still not feeling so like, well, improve the dosage, improve the dosage of fearlessness. So there is a meditation frequency, there is the positivity process. There is the 2-hour alarm that I tell people, please put on the 2-hour alarm so that you are reminded. Because as easy it is to switch the remote from one channel to the other, the same ease you can move back from there to here. So you move from fear to fearless in 1 second. But the next second, you can also move the same way back. So when you're sitting in the frequency of fearless and suddenly you get confused thoughts again, now you're like, oh, I released my fearlessness, but I'm still feeling confused. No, you're not still feeling confused. You again tuned into the frequency of confusion, the frequency of doubt. So, what is it that you have to do? You have to do something called the positivity process. You will find in EM30, it's one of the initial links that I sent. It's called the candle process, and you simply release your emotion to the candle. If it's not getting released enough, it's probably because you are fearing the emotion itself. The first step of it is to accept that it's just a frequency, it's just a channel. If you are giving it more weightage, if you take the word fear, it's just a word. The word fear is just a word. The word fearless is just a word. But you are so fearful of the word fear itself. So simply even releasing the fear of fear. Release the fear of fear, it's only a channel. Even if you are sitting in the channel of fear for the past 20 years, you can switch like that. You can literally switch like that. It's just a frequency. You didn't know that the choices are available. You forget that the choices are available. Okay, put an alarm clock for every 2 hours. That's what my positivity process video says. Follow that every 2 hours, whatever you've spent time doing for the last 2 hours, you don't do for the next 2 hours. The more you do, the more you sit in fear. Within a day, you would have multiplied it multifold. And so let that not happen. You can simply accept it, saying it's just a frequency. I can change it. This to be done without fear. If you're going to be fearful of worry, of confusion, if you're going to run away from it, then it doesn't leave you. Because the minute you want to run away from something, that underlying frequency of doing the positivity process cannot be fear. You cannot be running away from your frequencies. They are yours. They have been with you forever. And so if they are here, well, allow them to be there, but simply say, okay, you are here, but I have a choice now. I can watch another channel. And so I'm going to watch another channel. And you do the meditation in Meenal frequencies, and you will find yourself being a little bit more lighter. On the program, okay, let me just remind everybody, we are on to our next Expect Miracles program again. So the next Expect Miracle program starts on the 27th. If any of you are wishing to join, please let us know. Please don't use, somebody says, oh, the same person says, please don't use wrong words repeatedly. can you please write over here saying which one are the wrong words that I used repeatedly, and I will use them 100 times more. I'm going to use them 100 times more because for me, there is nothing wrong. This entire webinar, which you seem to have missed out completely, is about releasing the emotions underneath words. So I have totally released emotions under each of the words that I speak. If you are finding wrong words to give fear to you, then the answer is very clear. Those wrong words has simply come to remind you that there is no wrong word, only your fear underneath it. So the work is on you. If a word is triggering you, saying, please don't use these words repeatedly, please let me know which words they are, I will absolutely make sure that I use them 100 times over, 1,000 times over, so that maybe you can look at your fear and now begin to release your fear. I have zero fear on any words. I am the creator. I am Shiva. I can use whatever words I feel like using. Words don't control me. I control the words. Okay, wonderful. Okay, everybody, all done. I'm still waiting for the list of wrong words to come. I would just love to use them again. Please let me know. I'm so dying to use them again. Yes, what is the word? Can anybody understand what is being said? Okay, I absolutely can't understand the language. So you know what? Please type those words for me on the chat where you wrote the previous messages. You can type those words on the chat. I'm going to mute you because I muted myself instead of muting everybody else. Okay. Yes. Okay. No need to repeat prostitute or any similar negative words. Okay, prostitute, 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 prostitute. That enough for you? Well, because for me, it's not a negative word at all. For you, whatever that word means to you, look within. It's the fear. I already talked about my story. Money said to me, each one of you a prostitute. Each one of you a prostitute. Each one of you are buying something, selling something. Whatever you have to sell, you sell. Whatever you have to buy, you buy. So where is the judgment? Now no longer with me. I've already worked on that judgment. And so, yes, you are a prostitute. I'm a prostitute. The world is a prostitute. How does that make you feel? So that's what they wrote, saying no need to repeat prostitute or any similar negative words. I'm repeating these beautiful positive words. The most positive word on planet Earth right now for me is the word prostitute. Okay. All right, everybody. Now that we've moved forward, so the whole point of the webinar, the whole point of the webinar being that release the words release the energy behind the words. And this fellow saying, no, no, release this word, release that word, don't use this word, don't use that word. Well, the whole point of this webinar is to move towards fearlessness. But as you are sitting more and more in fear, this time, make sure that you release the fear and the judgments of under the words. Okay. How beautiful is the understanding? Silence speaks million words in the energy. Yeah. Silence speaks a million words, and yet I come over here and use 1,000 words. And that's how it is. So, okay. Yet I use 1,000 words in a day. Oh my God, how much do I speak? Okay. All right, everybody. So now, simply just a short, non-wordy meditation. Take a deep breath in and release. Take a deep breath in and release. I take energy from Meenal. I am Meenal. Let these be the words that play for you right now. I take energy from Meenal. I am Meenal. A deep breath in and exhale. All the emotions out. All other thoughts out. Only a little bit of blankness and a lot of peace. I take energy from Meenal. I am Meenal. And now, just simply putting your attention to one word, to any word that comes to you right now. Just any word that comes to you right now and observing the energy underneath it. For example, the word could be prostitute. And if the word prostitute comes to you, simply take a look at the word. Whatever emotion you feel when you look at the word, look at it. Does it give you shame? Does it give you judgment? Does it give you anger? Does it give you fear? Take a look at it. And in this moment, with the next breath, simply exhale. Just that. Exhaling the emotion from underneath the word. And now look at the word again. Maybe you want to spell it PROS. Simply letters, alphabets, just alphabets put together. These are just alphabets put together in any which way. It doesn't matter anymore what these alphabets mean. It starts with PR. From PR, you can think of another word, and that might be prayer. And so, this word now means a prayer to you. What do you feel when you're sitting in prayer? Feel that. And yet, just simply knowing that even prayer, PRAY, something, just a jumble of words, and removing all emotions from under the words. Even the good emotions, the bad emotions, just everything. Nothing called good, nothing called bad. Simply alphabets put together. No longer fearing those alphabets. No longer fearing what those alphabets are creating for you. Just simply having exhaled all the emotion underneath that word. And now, as you see those alphabets, there is a P, there is an R, there is an O, there's a couple of S's. Simply bring out your palm and then blow those beautiful alphabets, those letters into the air, releasing all emotions just into the air. Those beautiful letters are now out there in the universe. They're mixing up together with some other alphabets, creating some other words, or maybe creating the same word, but nothing holds you in fear. Just feeling the absence of words and the presence of words in the same breath. Whether there is a word used or not, it doesn't matter. An affirmation or not, it doesn't matter. What is your energy in the moment? Just that of peace. Having released the energy underneath some word where you judged, you've just released that energy. And now that word no longer triggers you. Take a deep breath in again. I take energy from Meenal. Every word simply here to create a judgment. And now, in this moment, I release the judgment. I am the creator. I am the destroyer. In this moment, I just destroyed my judgment. As I destroyed my judgment, in this moment, I created some joy. I am the creator of my own joy. Joy. That's the word. Om Mani, Om Mani, Om Mani. Okay, everyone. Lots and lots of love to all of you. Thank you so much and enjoy. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Joy, Meenal. Thank you.
Thank
Love
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you, Meena. Love you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.